Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. My name is Sister Fatima Hodge. Welcome. Today I'm going to bring light to the true experience of the black man and woman of America. Now, sisters and brothers, the enemy describes the black man and woman of America's history as slavery. Now, sisters and brothers, slavery is not all that we went through. Our true experience is horror. In this scripture right here in Genesis chapter 15 describes Abram's vision, right? And that vision was horror, not just slavery, it was horror. And the black man and woman of America meets this here description. It shares, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed, meaning this is speaking about God's people, right? Said his seed shall be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. All right, sisters and brothers, so we're going to focus on that particular scripture. It says that know for a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners, meaning temporary, in a land that is not theirs, in a land that is not theirs. And sisters and brothers, we know that the black man and woman of America were brought here to this land, America. And it is, in fact, a strange land to us. It was a strange land because this was not our land. And it was strange. Sisters and brothers, a strange land. That's why it was a strange land. On top of us being surrounded by devils. So it said that we'll be in a strange land, sojourners, meaning temporarily here, right? In America. Now the black men and women were brought here in 1555, right? So they brought us here, we had our minds. So the scripture also identifies that we shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years, right? So we were, in fact, you have to understand that, Yes, we were in fact slaves, right? But it also said that it would afflict us in this process as well. And that's exactly what they did. Brought here in 1555 with our minds, this strange land, surrounded by these wicked people. Now, it took them 64 years from 1555 to strip us of all knowledge of self, totally dehumanize us, turn us into Negro bots, on top of raping the black woman, forcing her to produce their seed. Now, this was all done during that 64-year process, brothers, to turn us into Negro bots. And to corrupt our seed. They attempted to commit genocide on our nation. Genocide is when you kill all the males and impregnate all the women with your seed to get rid of a nation. On top of taking your mind from you, not allowing you to think, completely dehumanizing you. But they attempted to wipe us out completely by raping the black woman. We produced their children. And there was a difference between the field Negroes and the house Negroes, sisters and brothers. The house Negroes were master's children from the rape of the original woman. They looked like us. They talked like us. They were not us. They were not us, sisters and brothers. House Negroes were master's seed. They obeyed their fathers 100%, which is why they were in the house. They had clothes, shoes, food, served master, cooked for master, fed master's babies. This is the position of the house Negroes. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Camouflaged in with the original nation. They had us looking up to these house Negroes. The field Negroes wanted better treatment. Because, like I shared, we were completely dehumanized, sisters and brothers. They fed us shit, sisters and brothers. Threw our babies to alligators. Practiced on us without anesthesia. Hung us, beat us, burnt us alive. And the list goes on. Used us as human zoos, experiments. This is what our open enemy has done to our nation. It said it was horror. And they only identify one little tiny part of our experience, which was slavery. They forget about the whole affliction part. Why is that? Because if they were to tell you about that, sisters and brothers, you wouldn't want to be near these devils sitting next to them, high-fiving them. Because they put on this fake mask as if they're good, but they're not. Sisters and brothers, they're not. They are in fact your open enemies who has destroyed our nation, who's attempted to destroy our nation, right? But due to the strength of the black woman, our nation is still here today. In the worst conditions that you can imagine, sisters and brothers, the black woman produced our seed. So that means that their act of genocide did not prevail because they plan on wiping us out completely. But half of the black nation today here in America are original. So that shows that they were not successful in their attempt. And that shows the strength of the black woman, which is why you are warriors, sisters. Warrior queens. You produced our nation through extreme conditions, sisters and brothers. Sisters, that shows the strength of you. Because we were not allowed to produce with our own men. Right? We had to work 24/7 around the clock while being pregnant. They didn't care about any of that. Had you sleeping on floors, barely sleeping, eating chitlins. That is what they fed us. And through all of that, we still produced our nation. So, sisters and brothers, we must never forget what our ancestors went through. Because if they were to see what's taking place today, they will have a heart attack, sisters and brothers, because you have to understand they did not want to be here, let alone be friends with these devils, love and hug and kiss on these devils. So you have to understand that you are your ancestors, right? Meaning those things happen to you and me. And we are here to finish the job. Getting out of here, sisters and brothers. Getting out of this hell, which is our open enemy's heaven. Black man's hell is white man's heaven. And that's exactly what this is for them. And it's hell for us, sisters and brothers. So we must never forget the true experience of the Black man and woman of America. Which was horror, sisters and brothers. Now, the scripture also reads, they shall afflict them for 400 years, right? It identifies a time, right? So, if our servitude started in 1619, 400 years from 1619 leads you to 2019. 400 years, right? And it shares that, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, right? And afterwards. So right after the 400-year mark, 2020 comes in with a plague. And we know that plague is COVID. COVID-19. This virus killed a lot of those of their people. And they panicked. They freaked out. They shut down their whole economy because they were not trying to die. That clearly shows that they were dying from this virus, right? And that was also a sign of their judgment beginning, right? For afflicting God's people. Now, Exodus says that the Passover is about you and I, right? Meaning it will pass over those with the lamb blood. And that's exactly what it did. Those who originally did not die from this virus, even if they had it. Black Africa didn't even get it, right? Until they sent it over there. Sisters and brothers killed off their president. They didn't have that narrative going around that blacks were not dying from this virus, because that would leave a sign that the scriptures are coming to life, right? That means we're living out the scriptures, which would also expose the nation who has stolen the Black man and woman's identity, right? Which is false Israel. That claims to be who we are, sisters and brothers, God's people, right? He said God's people will be sojourners in a land that is not theirs for 400 years, enslaved and afflicted, right? They shall serve them and they shall be afflicted for 400 years. Do they meet that description? I don't think they do. Sisters and brothers, I know they don't meet that description, sisters and brothers. But this is the nation who has stolen our identity, sisters and brothers. And in order for them to keep that narrative, to keep that lie going, they have to control everything that you think, say, and do 24/7. So you never think, sisters and brothers, because that is what they're stopping you from doing, thinking. Because once you start to think, you'll start asking questions. Because, like I shared, when the COVID-19 took place and it passed over the Black people, that will raise a question, right? What? Why did we die from this, right? But we have to also make clear that their demon children were also dying from this as well. Because, like I shared, you have a whole nation, hybrid nation of blacks. They look like us, they talk like us, but they're not us. They're master's children, Caucasians and black skin, sisters and brothers. The angel exposes them as demons. True meaning of the scriptures, right? Half man, half devil. Now, sisters and brothers, like I shared, they're trying to stop you from thinking, right? Because once you start thinking, that destroys them, right? Because now you're asking questions. Now you're wondering what's taking place, what's going on, hey. And that's what they don't want you to do. They want you in the loop. Instead, they want to control everything that you think, say, and do. Which is why false Israel is in place to control everything that you're watching, that you're listening to. You have to understand that their demon children are in place to control your minds as well. Celebrities, comedians, sisters and brothers, actors. All these people are in the plans to destroy you and me. And they give you this American dream, right? A dream is something that is not real, which is why they give it to you. Because they know that a people without a vision will perish. A people without a vision will perish. So they know better than to give you your vision, right? Than to enlighten you on anything that's going to help your nation rise, right? So they give you this dream, the American dream, which is a dead end vision. And our nation soon is going to wake up and realize that they're in a nightmare. Because dreams are not real. But you have a vision. And that vision is the Abrahamic covenant. It shares that, sisters and brothers. And afterward they shall come out. Right? Come out of where? I mean, we're coming out of this land. Right? But you have these leaders who are lying and manipulating your mind, telling you you're not going anywhere. Let's make America great again, right? Let's heal America. Let's take over America. But our messenger clearly tells you that you will be a fool to stay in the land of your imprisonment, right? So why would we want to stay here? Because you have to understand that all of their motivators, preachers, pastors, those who are supposed to be the guide and light beacons for you, are enemies to you, sisters and brothers. They are, in fact, your hidden enemies because they're camouflaged in with our nation, because they look like us, they talk like us, but they are not us, sisters and brothers. They are, in fact, Caucasians, the open enemy, devils in black skin. who are 100% against you. They're like cancer to our nation, sisters and brothers. Cancer. And we know that cancer cells resemble the other cells, which is why they're hard to detect. They end up corrupting their whole body because it's hard to detect them. And that's exactly what they children have done to our nation. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Speaking for our people. Their leaders, preachers and pastors, like I shared. But if you listen to them, they don't have that same, they're not telling you about your vision, which is the Abrahamic covenant. Sisters and brothers, and if they're not telling you about that, then they are in fact your enemies. It reads in Genesis chapter 15, verse 18, the Abrahamic covenant, right? In that day, God made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, right? So this is identifying that we have a land that was promised to God's people, right? God's people has a land that was promised to them, right? He made a covenant. God's sure, involuntary word, right? And it showed that it will be given this land from the river of Egypt onto the great river, the river Euphrates. So this is identifying a location. And sisters and brothers, that location is in fact Arabia, the best part of the planet Earth. That is in fact your vision, sisters and brothers. So if these pastors and preachers are not telling you about this, they are in fact your enemies. And no one else is telling you about this but the messenger of the covenant, the one who will give you the message about the covenant, sisters and brothers. The one whom you delight in, right? Because he's the one giving you the message about the covenant, who's giving us the message of the covenant. In order to be a beacon light for our people, a true light in the worst time in history. This is the only light that our nation has. Which is why it's important for all of those who hear this message, align with this message. It feels like you are a part of this body to come join and be a beacon light for our nation, because our nation is in trouble, because they are out to kill our nation. They want to kill us. They want to abort our nation before we are born, because the scriptures identifies that soon we will rise as a mighty nation together, right? And that's what they fear. So they fear that we will come against them, join their enemies, right? This is what they fear. Our rise, the black man and woman's rise. And that is in fact what they're trying to destroy, sisters and brothers, our rise. But they can't stop the spring from coming in, sisters and brothers. The new season is approaching. We're coming out of the worst winter, sisters and brothers. Worst winter season. And right now, that's exactly what we experience. Winter, sisters and brothers. We're not winter people, right? These people are cold. Real cold. Time they're living in is real cold, right? We treat like shit. And we have to understand that we're coming out of that time now. And it is now our time to shine, sisters and brothers, because we are about to rise. The spring is coming in, right? That means things are changing, right? Excuse me, sisters and brothers. Like I said, we're coming out of the winter. But these winter people, like Farrakhan, he's one of the key things. Speaking for the black man and woman, that's a what's that there. But he's not one of us, sisters and brothers. And you have an opening right there. They can't stop the spring from coming in because that's exactly what's about to take place. Every 24 to 25,000 years, we have, I'll make sure I'm expressing everything properly. Give me one moment. Okay, yes. So every 24 to 25,000 years, history is written, right? Every 6,000 years, and that's broken down into 6,000 years each period. Each season is broken down into 6,000 years. Right? So just understand that we're coming out of the winter. The worst winter ever. Into the spring, right? So we make all things new. So they want you to stay here in this winter, right? But your happiness, they want you to feel like you're gonna be in this winter forever. And that is not true. You have to understand that whether and brothers have no fear is here. Because that is good for me and you. Because the spring is coming, which is our time. Our time to rise, right? The time that we thrive in. Our heaven, right? We're coming out of the worst winter ever, right? So, you understand? Even I mean, we have to, you know, not mean that. was to the group that is coming in. So, explain, as you all know, they need good hope, right? So explain. This is no longer you know, those gloves. Keep your hands warm. So you have to understand that it's time to let go of the winter and come into the spring. And the end of the winter is now time for you. We are in a new time period, right? It's coming. So you must be ready for the season. You must be able to adjust adjust to the spring as well. And because nothing can stop the season coming in. Sisters and brothers. Adapt or be destroyed. Left behind. You know that God multiplied is in fact sisters and brothers. You know that spring will be okay? So you have to understand that God within has his, you have to understand that our God is in fact has the body of the winter, right? But he in fact has a nature of the spring, right? But this could allow him to be within our purpose because it becomes both. Okay? So we have to understand that spring is nothing to fear to endure. This is your time. This is our time. Right? And this is the time that we will feel this spring people. And people who has spring people. We have summer people. So during each period, each people, right, will thrive in that. If you're a winter people, will thrive in winter. If you're a spring person, will thrive in spring. If you're a summer person, you will thrive in summer. Right? And we have to understand that we are now of the winter, right, into the spring. If you have winter, right? No winter mindset. But progressing into the spring now, right? So they say it's not cool now, right? So you have to watch out for people who will fall from because he is in fact against you. Remember it's demons. It's reality. And this reality is in fact about to be destroyed. False Israel that claims to be God's people. Yeah, we are. Said Michael and his angels will go to war with the dragon and his angels, right? Michael represents like that's a form of land we have the dragon which is America built for slavery. That's exactly what you see today on your television. Because Israel will not be successful in the end. He said they will be destroyed. It said, in the reason it's divided by only that their destruction is near. It's when they near. That means the destruction. I mean, they're going to be destroyed. Whoa, what does that mean? This will be destroyed. Because we got this. So God's people, the land, they will not be uprooted, right? They'll be at peace, right? What's happening over there? That's not what I see. And the scripture also says they will be destroyed. So we have to understand the big picture in that. If false Israel destroyed, that means they destroyed their whole it's scary because we can get God's people. But then I turn on those people. So symbols make sure of that, claim that Elijah Muhammad said that black men are God's people. So that means they're gonna be looking at us. This is why this is gonna be a time of unprecedented hope for you and I, sisters and brothers. It's not that I love it. It's gonna be a great family here. Their whole Israel and they look at oil supply in this reality. This new oil. You have to understand that if they don't have that, then there's gonna be a total economic collapse here in America. And so what do they do? They get total economic collapse on top of it. And it's not gonna be no food on top of economic collapse. Unprecedented times. The scripture says that people will be eating each other. The flesh of your own sons and daughters. This is what the scripture tells us. That will take place during this time. I'm going to put that scripture up. Sisters and brothers, it says in Jeremiah, I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and everyone shall eat the flesh of his friend in the siege. And in desperation with which their enemies and those who seek their lives shall drive them to despair, meaning there is no hope during this time. And they will be eating the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters. And everyone shall eat the flesh of his friend. Sister brothers, there's going to be cannibalism taking place, sisters brothers, here in America because of the famine. America has never experienced that. No one here, even sisters and brothers, we have no idea of what this consists of because we don't know the true actions of our open enemies. because they've been, you know, dealing truly with us, right? Hiding, as if they're your friends, and they're not. And you're going to see that in full fledged action during this time. And this is going to happen any day now, sisters and brothers, any day now. And before they even do this, they're going to attack all blacks. Because they cannot have you rising as that mighty nation that the scripture says that you will rise as, right? So they're planning on attacking you, right? Attacking all blacks. This is their plan. Sisters and brothers, in your vision, the only escape from this horror is your true vision, which is the Abrahamic covenant, sisters and brothers, in you. Your minds, getting your minds back. Because that is, in fact, how we will defeat our enemies, right? We need guns, knives, weapons. Our minds is what's going to defeat our enemies. And during this time, everyone's going to come together, right? But you have to understand that the body that you fit in, which is this body, sisters and brothers, this is your true body. Because you're going to have the demons united, you're going to have the original people united, right? Coming together. So they're going to be, you have to understand that during this time, it's life or death, sisters and brothers. So you're going to have that true light, your true vision. And if they're not preaching the Abrahamic covenant, run far away from them, sisters and brothers, because they are in fact your enemy. And if you don't know your enemies, you are in fact your own enemy. Sisters and brothers, we have to be aware of the time that is approaching us today and how serious this time is going to be for our nation, for our people that has never experienced anything like this. Sisters, it reads in Deuteronomy is her placenta which comes out from between her feet and her children whom she bears. For she will eat them secretly for the lack of everything in the siege, in desperate straits, in which your enemies shall distress you at all the gates. So we're focusing on the fact that the woman, it said the woman would give birth and eat it. That should give you a small picture, idea of how serious this time is going to be. She's not giving birth to have her baby, to hold her baby. No, she's giving birth in silence. And that's another scripture that I will highlight. Because there's scripture in there that says in silence. Just so she can eat her own baby, right? And on top of that, so she won't be eating herself. That's how serious this time is going to be. Your children will be gray-headed. Children will be gray-headed. Children. I mean, that's to show you how much stress they're going to be under. They can't go to mommy. They can't go to daddy. They can't go to auntie, uncle, the cops. They got no food, no water, no safety. Imagine that stress on a child. Mommy want to eat them. Daddy want to eat them. Imagine that. Unprecedented times. That's the times that we're approaching, sisters and brothers. And we have to get our minds back, sisters and brothers. And also applying our nature. Because we've been given the enemy's mind, the enemy's nature, right? Our nature is the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. Right? And that is what you're going to need to get through this period, these tribulations that's about to occur. He said, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Right? And that's because we are going to be operating off of our nature. And that alone is our protection. That's what you're going to need, sisters and brothers. Our unity, our body coming together in Hajj. Through the Injil. The Injil is your map to get out of here. And that is the mind that you're going to need to upload. Because without it, you'll be blind. On top of applying your nature, which is the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, sisters and brothers, these are all the things that we are going to need to be successful during this time of unprecedented trouble that is approaching us very quickly. Any day now, sisters and brothers. So if you feel like you're a part of this body, join us by all means. Because our nation needs this light. Our nation is in danger. And this is the only light that we have through the messenger of the covenant, sisters and brothers. So please join, be a beacon for our nation. So with that, sisters and brothers, I'm going to bring this to a close. I'm going to end out here. Here. This is not there. Let's see if we can get him. Melt, I'm melting. This is the very